it bites.
Just again, it took a water glaze and you were mine. It made me love it and begin again. It made me love it and begin again. You made me love it and begin again.
Hello, sinners. My name is Alice Sin, and welcome to Alice's Shelf, the Bloody Chamber. Today we'll be talking about The Snow Child, which is the Bloody Chamber's shortest short story, but kind of hard to understand. It is no longer than 2 pages, and it tells us the story about a count and a countess. And they are traveling in mares on the wood. And then the snow is falling because it's midwinter. We all know Angela Carter loves the midwinter. Remember the Tiger's Bride? So the snow's falling, and the count says, I wish I had a girl white as snow. Attention. Attention. Focus. Remember when we talked about the original Snow White, if you didn't watch this. In the original Brothers Grimm version, we had Snow White being materialized as a wish from her mother. And now we have a count wishing not for a daughter, but for a girl. Although the countess is right there, right on the other mirror, just going with the wind. And he says, I wish I had a girl as white as snow. And then they keep on like, pum, 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 until they find this hole in the snow with blood in it. And he says, I wish I had a girl red as blood. And then they keep on going, keep on going, keep on going until they spot a raven. And he says, I wish I had a girl black as that bird's feather. And then Snow White materializes. She's there, everything the Count has ever wished for, and naked. We know Angela Carter loves nudity, so she's there, she's naked. And that's a very important symbol. We'll get to that in a moment. But then he takes the girl and he puts him sitting in the mare in front of him. And the Countess, she's like, the Countess hates her. So the Countess takes off like a bracelet and she's like, hey, pick it up. And he's like, I'll just buy you another one. And she's like, hey. So she throws her ring onto the icy river. And she's like, I'm not throwing it. Pick it up. And he's like, hey, that's not her job. And the Countess is like, and while that's happening, every time the Count stops the Countess, a piece of cloth from the Countess disappears from her and goes into the girl, so that the Countess is left bare naked. And then the Countess is like, she's got all my clothes, she's got my man, but. And then they pass by a rose bush, which for some reason always brings me to the Scarlet Letter, because of the rose bush in it, and that connection to sin. We might have a resemblance here. And she asks the girl to pick a rose for her. And the Count's like, well, I can't deny her that. So the girl goes and she pricks her finger. When she pricks her finger, she bleeds and dies. So she faints and she dies. And then the Count weeps, goes to the corpse, and has intercourse with the corpse. He's soon done. When he's done, the girl vanishes. And all that's left is a stream of blood and the rose. So he takes the rose, gives it to the Countess. She takes it and says, ouch, it bites. Let's talk about it. There is a very important connection to this story and aristocracy, or the power money gives. Why? Because the nudity in the girl represents the poor people, the poor class of society. Whereas the queen, the countess, she has all the clothes, she has all her fur. However, when the count starts to deny the countess what she wants in order to protect the child, all of her clothes go into the child, which means that that power never belonged to the countess. We're always talking about how powerful men are in a patriarchal society. So this is what's happening. All the power that the countess has derives from the money that the count has. So he's the one who plays power however he likes with her and the child. So in some way, the image of the countess, because we had mentioned how the materialization of the child is a figment of the count's imagination. She is materialized because of his sexual desire. However, the countess is also a figment of his desire. She only has the clothes and everything because he wants to. So she pricks her finger. Remember when we talked about Little Red Riding Hood and we talked about how the story is actually about sex and how the red shawl is a symbol for the hymen. So in this story, when she pricks her finger, we have the blood coming from the child, and that's also a symbol for menstruation. And she dies because she has fulfilled her job, that is to be a sexual object, because she's just a figment of his desire. So once she has bled, she's done. And that's why after he has intercourse with her, she vanishes. There's nothing else to her because she's not real. And it's also important to understand that he doesn't think twice before having sex with the corpse, because the feelings of the girl or the pleasure she would get from the sexual act doesn't matter. He wants to satisfy himself, so he might as well have sex with the corpse. He'll be just as satisfied. So lastly, when she vanishes, what's left? The stream of blood. That's the final symbol. It's the symbol for the breaking of the hymen. But then we have a final beat, which is the rose that pricks the countess, and she says, it bites. There are many ways to understand that. Once I had a professor talk about how that showed that the girl had power, because she could still hurt the countess, although she had died, like her existence had hurt the countess. I personally see it another way. The girl was everything the count wanted, right? And that's not the countess. That's why we have another figure materialize. But now the countess knows, or maybe she even did know before that. Those who have been in a toxic relationship know what I'm talking about. That you know that you are not what that other person wants. So the existence, or even the unreal existence, the figment of his imagination of something that's not the woman he's with, hurts her, makes her bleed. Not in a sexual way, but just in a painful one. So this was The Snow Child by Angela Cotter. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, life is a sin.